Well, well, well. Like we were right, it's hit the fan. So let's dive in and talk about it.
Let me tell you what's serious is the fact that that asshole is actually in charge of so much and causing so many SHTF problems and scenarios and nightmares to happen. Folks, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. If you're on subscribestar.com or the preparedmind.club, CLUB, you are here live with me right now. Anyone can be here live Monday through Friday. Every afternoon. All you have to do is pay the whopping $2 premium member fee. And not only do you get to, talk to me live on Sunday, but you get all week long, exclusive to members. Everyone else gets to watch it, but you can be here live. And that's how we incentivize, right? Let's see. You offer something of value and you ask for a little bit of money. Now, the government offers nothing of value and they demand a shit pile of money. Okay, that's the difference between John and government. John says, hey, if you'd like, we'll give you something of value. Information, knowledge, advice, concepts, and a whole lot of humor. And the government says, we'll offer you nothing. And in fact, we'll make your life even more fucking miserable. And we'll charge you for it. For example, the G7 countries, the top governments, Government 7, the big G7, they got together, the United States included, of course, and they came to the conclusion that they're going to shut down all coal-fired power plants by 2035. I don't mind if you shut down the coal, except I expect power outages, power restrictions. I expect Biden's EPA, IRS, FBI, and other federal bureaucracies to audit our energy usage. And I completely anticipate, because they're helping us out by reducing carbon, I expect to have SHTF power outages, regional rolling blackouts. That's right. Today, Sector 9 will be without power during the maximum draw portions of the day, right? Today, sectors 5, 9, and 11 will have no power for the remainder of the week. Sorry. That's coming from our government, folks. That is coming from our government. It's Monday. Get your questions down below. Mr. Uman's in the house. He'll have instructions for you there as well. But if you got a question, comment, thought, prediction, prognostication, wish, hope, dream, suggestion, etc., you're here live. Get them down below. I shouldn't say the only stupid question is one that's not asked. I've heard a lot of stupid questions asked, like, why can't you accept that I'm a boy? This is coming from a biological girl. Or why can't you accept that I'm a woman? Coming from a biological man. Those are stupid questions that don't deserve to be answered. I love it when they say things like, why can't you accept the gender I say I am? And I'm like, why can't you accept the gender you were fucking born with? That seems to me to be a more significant question, period. All right, folks, that's it. Here we are. Now, I want you to, we're taking bets here. Take your bets. Hey, in Charlotte, not the woman, in Charlotte, in the Carolinas, right? We actually had a tragedy today, right? Several police officers have been wounded, and a U.S. Marshal is killed, dead, and they have an active shooter. Was it a right-wing patriot or a leftist lunatic? Taking your bets here, folks. Take your bets. We're supposed to worry about right-wingers, patriots joining up with the terrorist left-wingers. But I would bet that better than 9 out of 10 shooters with guns are Democrats. I don't even want to touch the story about the man who, never mind, fuck it. I am so sick of these left-wing crazy bastards and their anti-white shit. I'm just sick of them. All right, so instead, let's switch over to SHTF Satanism. Oh yeah, folks, it's out in the open. It is no longer hidden, disguised. It is no longer a cult, which means hidden. It is in our fucking faces. In a Michigan town, verbal chaos erupted, folks, because a jackass named Louis Cypher, a minister of the Satanic Temple, decided to deliver the satanic invocation to the public. And the people, folks, shouted this satanic asshole down, shouted him down. Folks, it's going to come to a fight soon. It's going to come to blows with these city councils and these county councils and these organizations thinking it's fucking cute to have a Satanist show up and deliver an invocation. Back in the 60s, they got rid of school prayer. And you can see exactly how things have just gone fucking right down the tubes ever since. Ever since. I really don't have any problem, folks, with beatdowns of supreme, the largest assholes need to be beat down. Remember, I mean, we heard this, microaggression is when someone says something that hurts my feelings. Or if you say something I don't agree with, it's an act of violence. What is it the left does every single day? Exactly that, folks. It has hit the fan, and they are pushing and pushing and pushing, and we document it. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, your plan, while they push us and push us. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I being hypersensitive, man? Am I hypersensitive, dude? I think I got pretty thick skin. I'm not a hymen. I'm pretty thick and hardy, right? 54-year-old adult male, American. Actually have my testicles still. Didn't cut them off. But I am sick and tired of these fucking people. Here's another one. The rioting, violent, asshole, pro-Hamas students at George Washington University. Folks, this is just a few blocks from the White House, GW. It's just a few blocks. The pro-terror, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-death, pro-destruction asshole students tore down barricades and then draped the Kefiyeh flag and the Palestinian flag on the statue of George Washington. Now, the moment that happened, yeah, they got pictures of it, but the moment it happened, within 5 minutes, police should have been there, investigation should have been started, and those responsible pieces of shit should have been expelled from school and arrested for vandalism for their putrid trash symbology of Islamic crap in this country. Islamic crap. We're seeing an incredible acceleration in Europe right now. Or am I wrong? Am I being too sensitive? The fact that I see terrorists marching down the streets in Ireland, in London, up in Scotland, in France, in the beautiful countries of Scandinavia, in Italy, marching around with head coverings to hide their identities as they shout death and destruction to the countries which they've invaded illegally. And no one's doing a fucking thing about it. Well, people are starting to do something about it. They're starting to get mad. They're starting to fight back. They're starting to beat the shit out of these people. But these people, the ones I'm talking about, these pieces of shit that have escaped their country and had their passage paid for by the likes of George Soros and others, they're trying to destroy you, my friends, in every country. They're just trying to destroy you, your family, your beliefs, your culture, your law, your laws, your nation. They want everything destroyed and substituted with their shit. And if their shit was so good, why were their countries not prosperous, productive, an oasis, a utopia of Islamic goodness? Because they're shit. So they exported their shit into our countries to bring our countries down to their level. SHTF, folks. No doubt at all. No doubt at all. Now, look, I know Israel has got their back in the corner. I don't think they're the greatest country ever. I'm not like blindly, yay, Israel, yeah, and they could do no wrong. But get this. The International Criminal Court, I think they meet in The Hague. They are going to issue an arrest warrant for Benjamin Bibi, King Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and other senior officials. And I thought, well, if they've committed some sort of world crime, they need to get in line to be arrested by Xi Jinping, Obama, Biden, Zelensky, and the World Economic Forum, because they're not good guys. They have committed awful atrocities. But it's funny how these people are selective. They're all assholes, folks. What about the leaders in these Muslim nations? They have a caliphate, and they abuse to an absurd degree women, and they promote the most radical stupidity and belief systems for the people, while, of course, the elites have their goat-infested orgies. All righty. It's just going to get better, folks. It's just going to get better. Now, I've got a combo right here for you. This is a combo story. This is an SHTF times 2, or maybe it's an SHTF to the second power. But I want to start with this, the Pfizer files. All right. The 36-year-old New York City firefighter was informed of something, and he had a heart attack. The big question is, what caused the heart attack? Was it the Jim Jones juice, or was it the fact that he was fired so that the city would have more money, New York City, to pay for illegal aliens? That's right, folks. A New York City firefighter, only 36 years old. This is infuriating. 36-year-old firefighter let go because they don't have enough money to pay him, but they have tens of millions of dollars a month to throw at illegal aliens. And by the way, this 36-year-old firefighter from New York City has left behind a family that now has nothing and no help. Take a wild guess. What pushed him over the edge? Was it the juice? Now, folks, firefighters are not super athletes, but they are like supermen in a way. And I have a great deal of respect for their talents, their skills, their hard work, their effort. They have to be in top physical condition. To be a fireman, you got to be able to run up stairs, lots of stairs, floor after floor after floor, dragging hoses, equipment, all while wearing potentially an oxygen tank, a giant freaking helmet, mask, clothes that are thick enough and heavy enough to resist instantaneous combustion when exposed to a giant heated roiling flame. They're firefighters. Yet this guy at age 36 dies of a fucking heart attack. Was it the Jim Jones juice? Or was it the fact he was fired to pay for illegal aliens that broke his heart and gave him a heart attack? Now, and then I thought about this, and I wanted to put it past you guys. There are millions and millions and millions and millions of people in this country, America, Canada, Australia, and of course, Europe. Everywhere around the world, people have taken that Jim Jones juice shit. What we're finding out is that athletes are a huge percentage of the ones we hear about dying of heart attacks, strokes. Could it be that the exertion itself, the overexcitement causes the heart attack? Well, yeah, that's what it is. Super athlete or not. What happens if we have a massive surprise false flag, right? That is a major stress event, is it not? It's a shock to the system when false flags happen. If we have a national false flag, how many people do you think are going to have a stroke, a heart attack, a giant seizure, end up with major symptoms that erupt? Folks, in Japan, politicians and doctors are now going full steam ahead at exposing the pharmaceutical companies, their lies and government lies about the Jim Jones juice and, of course, COVID. It's all coming out. Pharmaceutical companies are now being sued for lying, misrepresenting, and in every and any way possible, right, fucking us over. It is going to get worse. Trust me on this, folks. It is just begun. Every bit of SHTF is just begun. Now, you guys know I get rather excited. I make some big accusations. I talk about some big facts and say, hey, you think for yourself. Other people have had it, right? In a very explosive and even nasty interview, man named Judge Joe Brown. And what did he do? He couldn't help it, folks. He went off on Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro, Obama, and he called Joe Biden, a, quote, low-down, scummy bastard and, quote, piece of urban trailer park trash. Pretty harsh coming from a judge, huh? Now, I want everyone to remember that the following quote is coming from Judge Brown, who is talking about Joe Biden. And, of course, Obama, too, is covered in these thoughts. This is not me talking. I'm reading a quote from Judge Brown about Biden. Here he is. He says, quote, I heard the low-down, scummy bastard say it in front of me. It was in Dover, Delaware. He, meaning Joe Biden, was on the podium. He said Negroes are animals and they turn the streets into jungles and they need to be put in zoos where they are safe and can be observed. This is a man who said, Joe Biden, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, if you're black, Joe Biden thinks you need to be in a fucking zoo. Really? Now, let me quote Judge Joe Brown a little more. He says, quote, he, meaning Joe Biden, had to withdraw from the presidential campaign of 1988 because he lied about his academic career. He got found out early for having plagiarized some things that caused his expulsion from an academic institution. That's right, folks. Joe Biden is a fucking liar. He still is, he was, and always has been. But Democrats vote for him, first in Delaware and then across the entire country. When I tell you all Democrats are scum for voting for people like this, they're not voting for a policy, folks. They're voting for evil people who lie, cheat, and steal. Let me give you a little more about Biden from Judge Joe Brown. Who knows? Who's seen the man talk? We'll just go. Joe Biden is, quote, a very rich man because of bribes, the extortion, and the downright payoffs he has gotten under the table illegally. I didn't say those words. I just repeated what was being put out there for America to hear. Have you heard enough, folks? Have you heard enough? Now, I got to tell you, folks, that we are in a battle. I've talked about the South, Florida, Texas, Georgia, the Carolinas, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. Talked about Tennessee, Oklahoma, Kentucky, all being part of the South, in my opinion. You know, where the cutoff lines are, I don't know. But Oklahoma has now joined Florida in resistance to Joe Biden's Title IX revisions. Title IX revisions have to do with schools and who and what is a woman and who and what is a man. And Oklahoma folks has challenged him and said, quote, one of the most radical and illegal moves we've ever seen from the federal government. The desire and push by Joe Biden and the federal government to make everybody accept these trans freaks, these LGBTQ freaks. And they're getting in trouble. They invited another trans clown drag queen freak to go to a prom and do a disgusting, filthy, I mean, we're talking filthy ass, disgusting drag queen dance for children. Again, prom, folks, children, high school kids. This Title IX revision by Joe Biden is intellectually perverted, and it's reprehensible as well as just completely off the charts immoral. When I say people voted Joe Biden in, they did so knowing that this is how they think. They need to be, folks, all Democrats are assholes and scum for voting for these people and for continuing to vote for these people and support them. Now, you won't see many Joe Biden flags, as discussed. You won't see many Joe Biden bumper stickers. You won't see many Joe Biden signs or yard placards. Not many. But those Democrats that are out there are going to hang their heads in fucking shame, and they're going to go out there and vote for Joe Biden. And then they're going to cheat and lie and vote for him in, well, absentee ballots, mail-in ballots, registering under multiple names. Democrats are lying, cheating sacks of shit, all of them. And they support the most filthy, filthy human beings. Prove me wrong. Well, my great-great-grandmother, who's 126, she still votes Democrat. Are you saying she's evil, John? No, I'll give her a pass. She is just completely ignorant and senile. Everyone else, though, you can fuck off. I mean, let me cover, well, that was Oklahoma, right? They kind of joined Florida, right? DeSantis, he responded to Joe Biden's absolute nuclear war on women and the abolishment, the proud abolishment of the Title IX protections. DeSantis says, quote, we will not comply. And I want to remind everyone, there is no statute or rule passed that is superior to our Constitution and what good people know to be correct and just, right? Any law that violates, or any rule or statute that violates the Constitution or our good senses is null and void, period. You can't tell me it's legitimate if, John, a majority of Congress and then the president signed a piece of paper and the Supreme Court said it's perfectly fine to murder all white people. Just because a couple of assholes, a handful of assholes in Washington, D.C. agree on something doesn't make it right. In fact, look at what they've just done. Folks, not only did they give another $60-odd billion to those sacks of shit in Ukraine, MAGA Mike Johnson, Joe Biden, Congress have worked out a deal with Zelensky to give him over $1 trillion for the war effort over the next 10 fucking years. That's $100 billion a year. Do you think they can continue to fight Russia for 10 years? It's not the money. It's not even the weapons. They don't have enough people, human beings alive in their country to continue to fight Russia. And on top of that, $1 trillion over 10 years. These sacks of shit, MAGA Mike Johnson and Joe Biden and the whole lot of the Democrats and rhinos. They want to have guaranteed loans, another $500 billion in guaranteed reconstruction loans to Ukraine. Are you telling me, can you possibly fucking believe that that's what the money's going to go for? Or are you smart enough to see that this is a money laundering operation? Let me tell you about money laundering, folks. Saudi Arabia was the old money laundering system, the petrodollar, forcing every country to buy US dollars, to buy American in order to get the dollars out there. And Saudi Arabia and OPEC were part of that, making sure they got all kinds of dollars and they made kickbacks, money laundering. At the time, billions of dollars. In today's equivalent, trillions of dollars. Well, they've lost that. They lost that shit to Russia, folks, and China. And so now they have Ukraine and a fake bullshit war where all they're going to do is piss away some ammunition, some tanks, kill some of the people, and hey, it's fine. As long as they get their money. I'm just disgusted by these fucking people. Absolutely disgusted by them. And they thought they were going to punish Russia, folks. With this war, Russia hasn't lost. They thought they were going to punish Russia by freezing in place all of their, treasury bills, T-bills. Folks, Russia bought $500 billion worth of U.S. government notes to fund America. They were trying to be nice years ago and be the allies of America. But Joe Biden, the Democrats, the World Economic Forum, they didn't like that. So they froze his assets. Then they decided they're going to confiscate it. Not just freeze it, but steal it altogether and give that to Ukraine. So Russia said, well, turnabout is fair play, assholes. They're going to confiscate $439 million, nearly $500 billion, from no, it's not $500 billion, it's $500 million. They're going to confiscate that from J.P. Morgan. Folks, American banks, American corporations, American investors have money in Russia and China and other places. Those countries are going to cut everyone off and say, you know what, fuck you too. It looks like there is always a balance sheet, folks. How much more can Russia hurt the West, hurt Washington, D.C.? All we've got to do is sit back, hide, and watch what they do next. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn the show over to you guys. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, as well. The zoo. And last night, the zoo, we only did, I think, three $50 super chats, but we had just a ton of questions roll in the whole 2-hour show. It was one heck of a discussion. You should go back and watch it again if you haven't watched it twice already. And if you haven't watched it once, shame on you. Share the internet address and get it out there to people. It is now time for the inner circle. That means questions from you. And as always, thank you to Mr. T, who is out there somewhere continuing to do what Mr. T does. He set us up with a lot of great intros, outros, and promotional items. Thank you, Mr. T. As always, good luck to you wherever you are. And Mr. Uman, I hope we've got some good questions today. I'm sure we do. I don't know how we couldn't have some amazing freaking questions. Chin Music says this, John, it's not just our companies. Foreign investment will dry up here as well. Communist Democrats are to their fellow humans exactly what flies are to livestock. Well, Democrats, I think you're being too generous, Chin Music, and I don't mean to criticize, but I think Democrats, communist Democrats, are to fellow humans. They are. Fuck, I can't even tell you how low I think of them. They're absolute parasites. They're an annoyance like flies. They're a parasite like intestinal worms. Right? They infest, they invade, and they make with their seemingly small presence huge problems. They're disgusting, filthy people. I've had it with them. I truly have. I mean, let me play this for you real quick, and you can see how they think of you. And this was from over a fucking year ago.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
Yep, that's what they think of you, folks. So why should I cut them any fucking slack at all? Why? Why should you? Why should we as Americans tolerate these college kids, these BLM freaks on the street? Are you aware? Now, they got this thing in Central and South America. They don't have cars quite like we do, not all of them. But criminals know that they can get through traffic. They can ride down sidewalks. They can go down one-way streets and escape on mopeds and motorcycles. So they use mopeds and motorcycles for two people, one to drive and one to hop off and stick a gun in people's face and either rob them or carjack their car. And in the event they're confronted with a fight, they can escape and get away. Well, of course, the people of Central and South America are carrying guns now and shooting these fucking people. But these same idiots who pulled that kind of stunt down in Central and South America, guess what they're doing now that they're here in America? The same thing. If you have an everyday carry, folks, a firearm, a pistol, make sure you have quick access to it in your vehicle, because they're now doing that up here. The Democrats have let these people in. They've let them in to our country, and they're starting to pull the same shenanigans. They're finding out how soft, weak, and stupid Americans are because, well, we were civilized. Civilized. That's done. It's just done, folks. All right. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Chin Music. They're what flies are to livestock. They're what fucking worms, cancer, right? You can't see the cancer that kills the cow, but it's there. That's what Democrats are. They're a cancer. That's what communists are. They're a cancer on humanity. And I don't need to apologize for this anymore. I don't need to pretend like, well, it sounds a little radical, but I think we've had enough reason. And like I said, we listen to them, what they say to us. Think about it. Hillary Clinton calls you a deplorable. Of course, we make a joke out of it and say, no, I'm a deplorable. And I like my cafefe.com, right? Don't forget to get your good coffee. These people are, right? They want to put you in a camp because you're deplorable. Clinging to your guns and Bibles, says Obama, that we're that kind of trash to them. That they want, folks, they want death camps, re-education camps. And I'm supposed to, well, you guys are okay. Please be my friend. No, fuck you, Democrats. Leadership, federal, state, local, and voters alike. I don't care anymore. Fuck you guys. I don't need you. Don't need you. All I need is a billionaire to fund this show. That's it. That's all we need. That would be really cool. But folks, here we are. Me and you, us. And it's going to be us versus them. If you're a prepper, it's going to be us versus them. And there's a lot of people who are going to be caught in the middle, which is why we try and get people to wake up. Wake up, get prepared, because there's not going to be enough for everybody. Right? Everyone wanted to be Noah's friend when the rain started, didn't they? But up until that point, Noah, you're a dumbass. There's no flood coming. Well, yeah, lo and behold, it came. And everyone wanted to be his friend as he was like, adios, see you later, via con Dios. And that was it. All right, Mr. Ooman, had to throw in my little unhappy story about all the people who were standing there going, but no, adios. Now, Name Redacted says, hey, John, how about that undeclared depression? Oh, it don't exist because they changed the definition. You bet. They've changed the definition and how they account for inflation, right? They don't give us the right. Right, let's see. Fuel and rent is not included on how they factor in inflation. Those are some of the biggest fucking expenses we have. It just is. They changed the definition on, well, whether we have a economic prosperity, recession, or depression. They changed it. So they don't have to say the words, Joe Biden's policy have caused a recession. They've expanded into a depression. They don't want that, so they don't say it. Now, a number of people have come out lately in podcasts, interviews, and said the Federal Reserve, Chairman Jerome Powell, Chief Goon Asswipe Powell, they're supposed to be nonpartisan. Their concern is the money and unemployment and the interest rates. That's all they care about. No. People have come out and said they are the most politicized organization that they can think of. As bad as any bureaucracy in Washington, D.C., the Federal Reserve, its board, are politicized. They want Joe Biden in place. They want Democrats in power. You know why? Because they want more and more of your money and wealth transferred to them. They want more and more control of our lives. You know, it used to be that slaves, that's right, folks, slaves. It used to be that, look, if you are beholden to somebody and you can't escape them and you have to keep working for them, that's what a slave is. That's what a slave is. Think about the United States government now. You work and you work and you work, and there's no way to get away from them. They demand you continuously work for them. Between federal and all local taxes that I pay, and you pay and we all pay, we work half the year as slaves. And the other half of the year, we have to acquire enough money to pay our own bills, pay for our gas, our car, our insurance, this, that, and the other. Imagine if you didn't have to pay taxes. And for all the idiots out there who have taxes withheld and they don't realize that's their money and then they get it back, they're like, oh, the government gave me money. No, it didn't. It gave you a portion of what you paid back. Changing definitions, right? A tax refund, they think, is a giveaway. They piss down your back and they tell you it's raining. That is government. Are you prepared for this to get nastier? Are you prepared for it to get worse? It's up to you, folks. You can either get ready or not. Now, there's apparently some new narcotic out there. And apparently it's replacing opium. I don't know if you've seen the people. This is interesting. And it's very saddening also. It seems like the people that take this new drug don't want to sit down. They want to stand. And so they literally are on their feet, but bent in half, almost like they're sleeping, or they flip around on the ground like a fish. This is what the World Economic Forum wants, folks. They want America destroyed. They want people whacked out on drugs. They want you to pay massive amounts of taxes. They want you to obey, right? And they want you to take your Jim Jones juice. Yeah, it's coming, man. They're going to push it again, right? The World Health Organization. Who? That's right. The World Health Organization are going to push it. And as a reminder, once again, even during this, folks, we could do this all day, but here's another one. Here is another one from the Pfizer files. A super athlete, folks, Joel Embiid. He's an all-star. He's not just a pro basketball player. He's not just a starter. He's an all-star, super athlete. He now has, a neurological disorder called Bell's palsy. It causes paralysis in the face and other areas and parts of the body. And all of a sudden, Joel Embiid has it. He's only 30 years old, folks. 30 years old. How bad, how incredibly bad is it going to get before people go, that's what caused it? The Alzheimer's, it's coming, folks. All the diseases that are supposed to be rare and show up in elderly people whose systems have broken down, their immune systems, it's showing up in people, regular people, athletes, everybody. Makes me rather sick. Hey, Mr. Uman, what do we want to talk about? What else is out there? What are we going to do when it is badass diving for a hog? And he says, why can't we accept your mental delusional outlook? Because in the end, you're just a little leftist bitch. If there's a man in that house, I'm sure he's a bitch too. What he's writing there, badass diving frog, is in response to the question posed to us by leftists. Why can't you accept the way we say we are? Why can't you accept what we've chosen to be for ourselves? Right? Because they're little leftist bitches. Very true. And there aren't really any men in their houses. I think that's the problem. Right? Was it just a few years ago, or was it a decade ago that they started saying that masculinity was toxic? That patriarchy is evil. In fact, there's a new term I read today. Man, you'll love this. It's called petropatriarchy. Petropatriarchy. It's the fact that the Western culture, which is patriarchal and toxic, uses energy, petroleum products, to help exacerbate and proliferate their white supremacy. And I ain't shitting you. That's what they're coming up with now. Never mind that every third world country and emerging market wants more oil, wants more energy, so they can improve the quality of life they have in transportation, creature comforts at home, better health, by having more energy and taking better care of themselves. I guess that is toxic masculinity. Right? But we're supposed to accept all of these emasculine fruitcakes. I don't have to accept their lies. I don't have to accept their mental disorder. I don't have to play along with their ridiculous games. Right? When my child says, I'm an astronaut, I'm like, you're such a cute little 3-year-old kid. Right? Take your little astronaut behind and go get cleaned up for dinner. You don't really think they're a fucking astronaut. And kids, they stop saying, I'm an astronaut, because you're like, okay, where's your spaceship? And they're like, Dad. It's like, yeah, okay, games are one thing, fucking reality is another. Go get a job. Both my sons grew up and got jobs. Thanks, badass diving fraud. Mental delusional belief system. Belief system. The moon is made of cheese. The moon identifies as cheese. I don't have to believe that. Crazy shit. All right. What a Monday. What a Monday. We got name redacted. He wants to talk about borders. a common language, and a shared culture. Huh? That's what you want to talk about? He writes, that's what makes a country. They have been undermining all of that for over 50 years. Yeah, it's part of the communist infiltration and destruction of America. If you read Karl Marx's manifesto, not the manifestos by these murderous, mass murderous transsexual freaks, not those manifestos, but the one written by Karl Marx. He's got 10 planks to taking a decent country and turning it into a communist piece of shit country. It's an actual series of steps. Government controls the education system. Check. Destruction of the nuclear family. That is, make sure that one or both genders hate the other. Check. Make sure there's a progressive income tax in there to punish the average human from getting ahead and enjoying life. Check. And they've been doing this, of course, for well over 50 years, piece by piece. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you take down America? One piece of shit legislation from Democrats at a time. One Democrat vote at a time. And they do it time after time. And they vote and they vote. And folks, in every election, they vote multiple times just so they can destroy our country. That's why I say stop blaming Biden. He's only there because your neighbors put him there. That's the only reason Joe Biden is president, because your neighbors voted for him, supported other Democrats, agree with Democrats, watching Democrat news, listening to Democrat bullshit, going to Disneyland and exposing their kids to trans freaks. One kid at a time, one vote at a time, one business at a time, they destroy everything. They are parasites, folks. They are a cancer. Every last Democrat. Right? There is no mild cancer. You can't say, well, I'm a Democrat, but I don't believe in all that stuff. Well, what the fuck do you believe then? Oh, I'm just a mild cancer. I'm just a small parasite. You won't notice me sucking your blood. Well, yeah. You put, folks, 100 million Democrats, 150 million, half the country, right? They're not all voting, but they are all parasitic, and they run out and accept government aid that you have to pay for. Oh, it's rampant. Absolutely rampant. Okay, Mr. Uman, let's continue. I know we got some more topics out there, some good stuff. And Uman has something to say. Let's see what it is. He said, we got some good news. Thank you, Mr. Uman, for being the positive dude of the day. He says, one good piece of news I saw today was that Scotland's first minister, which is like a prime minister, first, prime, first, their minister, first minister, Humza Yousaf, he resigned ahead of a vote of no confidence. That's right. It was a piece of good news. Does Humza Yousaf, does he sound like a Scotsman to you? Not a chance. And I don't care what your name is, because I just said, does Humza Yousaf sound like a Scotsman? Does Humza Yousaf sound like a Scotsman? Once you listen to what he says, you will agree he does not sound like a Scotsman, because the shit he wants to do and has done to Scotland is to destroy it. And no Scot would knowingly, willingly, intentionally destroy his own country, inviting in illegals, non-conforming immigrants, if they were legal, and not to mention the fruitcake left-wing ideology of accepting trans crap from these mentally deranged freaks. And it's amazing, folks. There's kids out there. There's young kids under 10 years of age, kids in their teens, young adults in their 20s that are just rejecting this left-wing crap left and right. There's going to be a war. It's easy to look at most of these people that are supporting it and going, yeah, it's all youth, it's youth, it's youth, it's youth. They're overexposed by media, by newspapers, by social media. Every one of these green, pink, orange, red, yellow, purple-haired freaks, there's not as many of them as they would like you to believe. It's just the ones that do exist are very loud and also, in most cases, very large. They tend to eat enough for 5, 6, or 10 people. No wonder they weigh literally 300, 400, 500 pounds. It is unhealthy to eat that much. Plus, you're consuming more food than you should. They're abusing the planet. Why isn't Greta the little climate scientist? Why isn't Greta the climate grouch going after large people for eating too much food? Well, because that's fat shaming. No, we're not fat shaming. We're carbon shaming. Shouldn't we be carbon shaming, oh man? You diesel driving maniac, you. I love a good diesel. More BTUs in diesel than not. Anyways. What a world. Thank you for the good news, Mr. Uman. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate it. Wow. And it's just going to get better. I want to make sure everyone understands. You cannot support homosexuality. You cannot support bisexuality, gay, lesbian, trans. You can't support drag queens, any of the LGBTQI. You can't support them. Don't do it. And then try and support Palestine or the anti-Israel protesters. You can't support Hamas. You can't support Gaza if you're a homosexual or anyone from that protected class of fucking morons and butt pirates. You can't. Folks, they are dumb, dumber, and even the dumberest people on the planet. They are so uninformed as gay anti-Israel protesters. They have no idea that in Palestine, gays are routinely killed. In other areas of the Arab world, they're thrown off of roofs. They're beheaded. They are made a public spectacle of as they're beaten to death, stoned with rocks. Yet these fucking idiot fruitcakes, because they hate America so much, they'll support people who are like, burn America. That's how dumb they are, folks. They're so interested in destroying America, ruining you and me, that they'll kill themselves. But that falls right in line with communism, socialism. They're willing to destroy everything and sacrifice even themselves. They're willing to take your freedom and even give up their own freedoms because they're that suicidal. They're self-destructive. They're self-loathing, self-hating pieces of shit. Once again, all Democrats are evil because they fall into that category. They're self-loathing, self-hating. They hate themselves so much they're willing to allow themselves to be destroyed and take you down with them. That's why they love being mass murderers who are willing to either suicide by cop or shoot themselves in the fucking head. That's who they are. That's what they are. That's what they're doing. And are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And I tell you what, I listened to some fucking idiot liberal Democrat, and I'm sure he's a voter, explain in an interview that, well, I was promised that if I went and shot a gun, I would like it and that I would become a gun supporter. But as a dumbass Democrat, I went and shot a gun. And it scared me how powerful it was. And so now I'm more for gun control. And it's like, I don't care what your fucking opinion is, pal. Right? Why do people think that because they have an opinion Everyone else has to obey their opinion. Our country was set up so that you and I both have an opinion. You and I both may share it. Not everyone has to fucking listen to it, and certainly not everyone has to obey it. And in the end, our rights triumph all, and that as individuals, we have the protective system in place, our rights that preempt all government authority. All right, let's do this, Mr. Ooman. I think we got some more stuff to go over, do we not? I'm getting the old head shake. Badass Diving Frog says, hey, John, question for you. If the left pulls some election bullshit and put Joe Biden back in office, do you really expect us to sit here and take that shit? Or are we just going to talk about it for years? I don't know. I don't expect anyone to take shit, Badass Diving Frog, but what I can't do is tell you that if Joe Biden is put back in office, and I believe wholeheartedly they cheated to do it, that you should commit an act of violence or insurrection. I cannot, in this role, in this capacity, tell you to do that. I know what I believe. I know what I hope to do. I know what I wish Americans would do in standing up for themselves and their country. But how far can we go? Right now, talking about it, I can say, read the Declaration of Independence. Read it. Read the Constitution, and you will find within those documents your rights as well as your duties and obligations. That when a government is so corrupt that it violates your rights, that you have the right, the ability, the duty to throw that government out, not through elections, but by force of arms at all levels, local, state, and even federal government. We can throw it the fuck out because it is clearly violating our rights. And if there are no institutions between us and the government that are going to do that for us, if voting doesn't work, right? If other elected officials do not impeach and remove those corrupt pieces of shit that are causing the problems, if the military, as a last line of defense, doesn't remove the cancerous problem, then we, the people, are left with no choice but to either take that shit or take that bag of shit and throw it to the curb. Now, freedom has never been free. And liberty has always come at a price. And that price, folks, is blood. Lives have to be given. In order to do that, people have to commit to the idea and be willing to make the sacrifice. Not just going out for a day and marching and protesting. But you have to be so sold on the concept and idea. Your belief has to be so strong. Your faith that what you're doing is right. That you're willing to join others who feel the same way and commit yourselves and be willing to lose your life or end up in prison the rest of your life. And they'll call it treason. They'll call it an insurrection. They'll call you a terrorist. And they will think that you are wrong and evil. And they'll use the media to slander you. They'll use social media to slander you. They'll tell the rest of the world we've got a problem here. The rest of the world, all the other governments will agree, oh yeah, those are some evil, bad, terrible people. But the fact of the matter is governments today, the United States and other governments, they're the ones committing atrocities. They're the ones creating viruses, disease. They're the ones creating some of the filthiest, nastiest weapons to slaughter the most people in the quickest amount of time. They are the ones, government, and government officials are corrupt, especially Democrats, especially rhinos. They're all willing to sell us out, screw us over, enrich themselves while violating our rights. Yeah, folks, everything in the Declaration of Independence is happening now. We have every right and reason to revolt and throw them out, to march on Congress, to march on the White House, to march on the Supreme Court and throw them all out, not to create a new constitution, but to reinstate the old one. We have that right. But I can't tell you to go do that because that's a crime. That's a crime, according to government. And they will send cops to your house and arrest you, or they'll catch you on the street and arrest you. You have to be willing to trade your life for the life of every government official, every government agent that wants to confront you on your way. Name redacted says, the Gretchen, the Grinch thing, Jan thing, and the Fed thing ensure that. Ensure that we do nothing. The January 6th thing and the federal government thing ensure that we won't do anything. Well, how pissed do you have to be? Your children killed? Is that enough to get you to go, you know what, fuck it, I'm done with these people? What has to happen to you? All of your money stolen from you? You'll own nothing and like it? Have your house repossessed? Do you have to be put in such a position where you've got nothing left to lose before you're willing to lose your life to get back your freedom? Right? That's how it ends up. That's what's happened in Haiti. The people are down to basically nothing. They're fucking starving. They finally go, you know what? We've got nothing left to lose. Corrupt government has everything. We've got nothing. It's time for a revolt. Same thing happened with the French. They were starving to death in the 1790s before they decided to revolt. The American people got tired of being fucked with by the redcoats, confiscating firearms, raping their wives and daughters, burning their farms, burning their businesses, confiscating their gold and silver at the banks. They got tired of it. It was so extreme, so bad, they finally said, fuck you, and fired at the redcoats, Lexington and Concord. When's it going to happen? Don't know. Will it happen? Don't know. Should it happen? Yes. Is it justified? Yes. Am I telling you to do it? No, because I can't. But I can tell you, I would love to be standing there. Not just sitting on the sidelines with popcorn, but we'll all get our chance, folks. I always wondered, are we going to have this great partisan conflict, civil war, a revolution, a separation of states from the federal government, secession? Is that going to happen in my lifetime? Well, it's accelerating pretty fast. It is very possible, and we're going to find out. Don't just grab a bucket of popcorn, though that's not a bad thing to have, but get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. I have heard regular people, folks, regular, normal, everyday people, not radicalized, ex-military, patriotic, right-wing, super-duper right-wing, no, just regular street people, normal people going, you know what? I've had it with this shit. We need to do something. People are going to step up into leadership positions, and others will follow. Others will follow. How quick do you think the government will put it down or try to? Quicker than shit. Oh, they'll let the fucking Palestinian idiots, they'll let BLM burn the fucking country and assault the shit out of them. But you right-wingers will not demand your rights and restore them. They won't allow that. Not for a fucking second. And I can tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because they know better. They know that if we get riled up and we go that far, that it's over for them. Over. And we need to find out where they live and what property they own and how much money they have and take their fucking money, their property, and throw their slimy asses in prison. That's what needs to happen. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Fill your head with useful, real knowledge and get prepared. Godspeed, Semper Fi. I'll see you, Zero Dark 30.